Welcome back, my spooky lovers. Join me today as we deep dive into one of the most unsettling mysteries in the American West. Was it an alien, a government cover-up, or something more sinister? We explore the initial investigation, the widespread fear it caused in Idaho at the time, and all the theories that came along with it. The year is 1975 in eastern Idaho. To the farmers who worked these vast rangelands, cattle was not just a commodity, it was their livelihood. Their tranquility was shattered by a series of discoveries so grotesque they sparked a panic that spread across the state. It started in September of that year in Fremont County. Ranchers began finding their cattle dead, often in isolated pastures. The animals had been mutilated with chilling surgical precision. This was the horrifying pattern. The corpses were almost always found completely drained of blood. A full-grown cow has 8 to 10 gallons of blood, yet there was never any trace left on the ground. Beyond that, trademark body parts were missing: the eyes, the ears, the tongue, the udder, and the sex organs. All removed with what appeared to be a razor-sharp instrument. Local veterinarians would examine the cattle, but they had a hard time determining the cause of death. The Idaho Falls Post Register reported at least 23 cases across the valley, with 14 being in Fremont County alone. The Fremont County dump also started finding dogs that had been mutilated in a similar fashion. Some of the dogs had been skinned. One horse was also found in a similar manner in Fremont County. Deputy Sheriff Terry Thompson of Fremont County stated with the parts being removed varying in the different cases, they believed multiple people might be involved. "The people are real scared here," he would state to the Post Register. "We are doing everything we can to catch those cattle mutilators." Thompson said that when the people involved were caught, they would face felony charges of grand larceny. If the vehicles were found on farmers' properties, they would be impounded and sold at a public auction, with the profits going to the county fund. The killings spread immense fear across the community. Approximately 100 farmers organized themselves into armed night patrols, working in shifts and always in pairs. The mood was grim, best summed up by one Wilford farmer. "If I catch someone out in my fields hunched over a cow, I will shoot first and ask questions later." This was a community on edge, willing to protect their property by any means necessary. Patrol stations were spread out on county roads. All cars that passed through were stopped and checked to see who was inside and asked what they were doing in the area. Farmers also advised people not to be out after 10 p.m. and said nobody should be in the fields at night. The Idaho Cattle Association was offering a $1,000 reward to anyone who provided information leading to anyone involved in the mutilations. The Fremont Madison Cattlemen's Association also started sponsoring a reward fund for the arrest and conviction of the people involved. The alarm soon reached the state level. Idaho Governor Cecile Andrus ordered the Air National Guard to intensify their surveillance of the rangelands during helicopter training flights, hoping the pilots could spot any suspicious activity. Fremont, Madison, Bonneville, Teton, and Butte County officers would get together about once a month to compare notes on the crimes. Despite the patrol and the National Guard involvement, the mystery only deepened. There were never any credible leads, and the perpetrators were never caught. Southeast Idaho was not the only place being affected by the strange and sudden cattle deaths. The mutilations were occurring across the state and throughout the country. The incidents had been reported in at least 18 western states over the span of 6 months. It is estimated that 1,500 cattle mutilations occurred in Idaho since 1973. The complete lack of footprints or tire tracks at the scenes fueled the wild theories that continued to spread faster than wildfire. So what really happened? There are a multitude of theories that have surfaced over the years. Theory number 1 being natural causes and scavengers. The most skeptical explanation is that scavengers, such as coyotes and vultures, are to blame. They target soft tissues first, such as eyes and tongues. The body's natural decomposition process can cause internal blood pooling, making it appear drained. Idaho Fish and Game Warden Joe Curry examined multiple carcasses in Fremont County and concluded that it was caused by predators. Similarly, Idaho Attorney General Wayne Kidwell stated in an investigation report that most cases in Idaho were most likely caused by predators, finding no conclusive evidence of human involvement. However, law enforcement and ranchers who saw the surgical cuts vehemently disagreed, arguing scavengers could not achieve that level of precision. Which leads us to theory number 2, satanic cults. This was a popular belief in the 70s. The idea was that occultists were harvesting the blood and specific organs for rituals at the time. This theory has been investigated by the ATF in other states, but no concrete links were ever established. This theory was brought up by locals who knew of local Wiccans that practiced in the community. Hansen, a Jefferson County Sheriff deputy at the time, mentioned, "I remember going up with the Madison County Sheriff at the time, and we went up behind a place by Heisey that was close to Madison but was into Jefferson. We had been told by somebody that's where the witches would meet. We found an area in the forest where weird things hanging from the trees, but you could never catch anybody going in and out." On October 13, 1975, the Post-Register reported an item that was discovered that could be connected with the mutilations in Fremont County. The item was described as a white plaque with black lettering and a temple-shaped object in the center. It was found on a telephone pole in Wilford. The item was found by some farmers near where the first mutilations had been reported. A similar sign was found in Chester near where another mutilation had occurred. The plaques furthered the fear that an occult group was involved. In December of that year, Mr. Wigington, an ISU associate professor of English and longtime student of the occult, spoke at an event regarding the plaques. He speculated that students of Mithraism, an ancient religion that required a vast amount of blood for its practitioners, might be involved. He said that the plaque might be someone's attempt to depict a Mithraean temple. Theory number 3, government or military testing. This theory was fueled by reports of unmarked helicopters seen flying over mutilation sites. Were they testing biological weapons, conducting covert research? The fact that the cuts were so precise and that some mutilated cattle in other states were found to be marked with a fluorescent chemical raised questions about state involvement. Theory number 4, extraterrestrial activity. For many, the lack of tracks, the bloodless conditions, and the surgical precision pointed to technology far beyond human capabilities. Were aliens conducting bizarre experiments on Earth's livestock? Officers in the area talked about the possibilities, stating if there were alien ships that could pull up and gravitationally suck the cow right up off the ground and take it up in their ship, then they could dissect and do what they wanted and study the animal, then come back and lay it right back down on the ground because they don't need the carcass because they don't eat meat. This remains the most famous theory in cattle mutilations nationwide. Despite all the attention, and even with the FBI investigating similar cases in other states, the 1975 cattle mutilations are unsolved to this day, and stand as a stark reminder of a terrifying chapter in rural American history, a chapter where ranchers had to stand guard against the ghosts they could not see. What do you think happened on those Idaho plains? Let me know your theories and lore in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more deep dives into things that are hidden by night. Until next time, my fellow spooky lovers, bye.